Hey guys, I'm Steff and welcome back to my beauty stash. Today we are going to be taking a look at the new Pat McGrath holiday palette. Well, one of her holiday palettes, the large holiday palette. And this one is the Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette. I got this in the mail yesterday and I definitely already have some thoughts. I've already formed a good opinion. I've swatched it extensively and I even have some dupes for you. So this is what today's video is going to be about. On my eyes, I have two almost identical eye looks going on. And on one side, I have the new Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette. And on the other side, I have a palette that costs half of what the new Pat McGrath palette costs. So I'm going to be taking you through the look I created today. You're not going to know which side is which. And at the end of the video, I will come on, reveal which side is the dupe side, which side is the Pat McGrath side, giving you guys some other alternatives, some options to create kind of similar looks that you can with the Pat McGrath palette, using some items you might already have. Now, this palette retails for $78. I ordered it the day it launched from the Pat McGrath website, and she did have a 10% off promo code. So I think my entire order came to about $71 with the tax and all of that. And I believe today the rest of her holiday collection has just launched on her website. So definitely I'll have a link for it in the description box down below if you want to check out other items. There are a couple pieces that are kind of catching my eye, but most of the items in that collection are going to be quad eyeshadow palettes, and I want to say those retail for about $58 a piece. There is a highlighter, and then of course there are some lip products. So guys, if you want to see some alternatives for this Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette, as well as a quick tutorial and my thoughts and review over this new palette, keep on watching. this is the completed look using the new Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity palette and my Dupe palette. Now, what side do you think is Pat McGrath? Do you think it's the left side or do you think it's the right side? If you guessed the right side, you would be correct. This is the eye that I used, the new Celestial Divinity palette. And right here on the left eye, I used a palette that only cost a third of what the Pat McGrath palette costs. And that is the Morphe palette. This is the Morphe 35M Boss Mood eyeshadow palette. And this is what I use to get the look that you see on the left eye, but that's pretty identical to the same look I created using the new Pat McGrath palette. Let me hold up these palettes next to each other or on top of each other so that you guys can see how similar and why I thought the Morphe palette would be a pretty good dupe for this Pat McGrath palette. So here are the palettes, one on top of each other. It's kind of hard to hold a Pat McGrath since the mirror keeps folding down, but you can see that they are very similar in color stories. Even their pan sizes and shapes are almost identical. And now you know why I chose this palette to dupe the Pat McGrath palette with. So guys, you can find this Morphe palette for $25 on the Morphe website. And you can also, I believe, find it on the Ulta Beauty website. But I, of course, will have everything linked in the description box down below. Now, I couldn't do every single shade that was in this Celestial Divinity palette from Pat McGrath, but I think I did a pretty good job with the looks. What do you guys think? I know there's some slight differences, but overall, guys, you get almost the same look. So I have a couple other dupes alternatives that I'm going to mention towards the end of this video. Right now, I want to go ahead and just give you my review, my final thoughts on the palette in case you are wondering what I've thought of it, because I've definitely played around with it quite a bit. So guys, I, for one, am very impressed with the price tag of this eyeshadow palette. Like I said earlier, it retails for $78 on the Pat McGrath website as well as the Sephora website. And for $78, you're getting 18 different shades. Like, to me, that's unheard of for Pat McGrath palettes. You guys know that her palettes usually cost upwards of $100, and you get around a dozen shades in those palettes. Now, she does make some less expensive palettes, but they are also smaller. So they might be 4-pan palettes or they might be 6-pan palettes. They are definitely not 18 eyeshadows like we are getting in this Celestial Divinity palette. So first off, I want to say thank you, Pat McGrath, for making it so affordable to get this palette, because me, that I don't have a lot of Pat McGrath in my stash, I really would love to have one of those $125 eyeshadow palettes that has like her special duochrome formula, shimmer formula in there, which this palette does not. But guys, I can honestly say that when I first saw this palette, I was like, there's a one missing from the beginning of it. It should have been $178 because you're getting so many shades, right? And it's Pat McGrath. But then I thought, well, what's wrong with it? Why is it only $78? I thought, you know what? They're going to cut us short on the quality. It's not going to be an amazing palette. The quality is just not going to be there. And I'm already coming off a bad experience with the Rose Decadence palette. I did end up returning that one. Just for me, it didn't justify the cost of it, and I just really wasn't wowed by it. So I was taking a leap of faith in ordering this one. I like the other Pat McGrath products that I have in my stash. Like, I'm wearing the lip balm and lip liner, which is absolutely awesome. Love Pat McGrath lip products. Like, I can definitely see myself buying and investing in more Pat McGrath lip products, as well as her foundation that is still on my to buy list. and I love the mascara, but the eyeshadow palettes were just leaving me with something to be desired. And I have another Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette. It's one of the smaller ones. It's a 6-pan palette as well, but I mean, it's just okay, you know? So I was really hoping that this was going to be something I was going to enjoy, something I was going to love, but I was also skeptical as to, well, why is it priced so inexpensive? So I am thoroughly pleased with the quality of the palette. The eyeshadow, the shimmers, they perform really well, as do the matte shades. Although I will say the matte shades don't necessarily swatch as well as the shimmer shades did, but that doesn't matter. Swatch on your arm does not matter. It's how they go on and how they apply, and they did a great job. Now, I will say that as far as the color story goes, I do like the color story. I don't think it's anything though like unique. I don't think it's something that we haven't seen before. And to be honest, guys, these 2 rows right here, as well as these 2 rows right here, were featured in her Star Wars collection that I want to say was released last year. So those are not new shades. The only new shades to the Pat McGrath line are the 2 columns that are going down the center here. So those are 6 new shades, but all of the other shades were released in the Star Wars collection. So I thought that was nice also. I didn't necessarily want a palette full of shades that were already out there. I do like that she included some new shades in there as well. And I do like the pan size. I do enjoy the color story. I think it's a great color story. Now keep in mind, you're only getting 3 matte shades and 15 shimmer shades, which I know for some of you is maybe a little overwhelming. Like, what are you going to do with so many shimmer shades? There's only so many shimmer shades you can wear on your eye at once. So I kind of wish maybe there was a couple more matte shades and maybe take out a couple of the shimmer shades. I do want to say there is a shade in here that kind of, to me, it looks like a duochrome, and it has that green brown shift to it, which is really, really pretty. And it is the shade right here. Let me take you to the part that I don't like about this palette. And unfortunately, it's the first thing that you see. It is the packaging. Guys, this packaging is really cheap. And I guess I can see why she had to go this route, because she's including 18 shadows in here. But I mean, this is a sticker right here, and mine looks crooked. And in the back, I don't mind the back. Like the back, this is a sticker right here with the names of the shades, but it's the front. Like, this is just a typical thin cardboard packaging. You can definitely tell they didn't spend anything to make this outer packaging, and in a way I wish they had, because this is the first impression of the palette. This is what, if you're going to give this palette to a gift, this is the first thing that recipient is going to see. And when they see a sticker like this splashed across the front, I mean, I just kind of wish maybe they did like an embossing. Like I have, like for example, here is a BH Cosmetics, same type of packaging, the cardboard packaging, but this is embossed. You know, it just elevates it just a little bit, and it doesn't make it look so cheap, even though cardboard packaging is cheap. And then the same thing with ColourPop. Like, look at this Garden Variety palette. Like, this is so pretty, and it's also cardboard packaging, but it just, you know, like there's something that, like with the embossing, it just really elevates the look of it a little bit. And when you like compare these two, I mean, come on, like which do you think looks a little bit higher quality? I definitely think the ColourPop does. So that is the one thing that I do not like about this palette. I also don't really like these little ribbons on the side. I think it's cute, like, you know, visually or whatnot. And it does hold the mirror up, but I, for one, I am the type that I like to just fold my mirror to the back or fold the front flap to the back. So I think I'm gonna end up just cutting the ribbons off. That way I can fold the mirror all the way to the back. But I do love that she included the full-size mirror, because I think that is a must. Like every palette, I think, should come with a mirror. But other than that, guys, that was the only downside or negative experience that I had with the eyeshadow palette, is the packaging. Like, I think I would have liked it if had she included maybe a few less shades and then elevated the packaging a little bit, just because I mean, this is the cover of her book. This is the cover of her palette. It's the first thing that you see, and it kind of just makes you wonder what's going to be inside. I mean, and no offense to Pat McGrath, but the outside of the packaging looks like it's something that's going to end up like at Ross and TJ Maxx really soon, even though the quality of the shadows are really top notch. And not that there's anything wrong with Ross and TJ Maxx. I shop there all the time, but I think we expect something a little bit more from Pat McGrath because it is a luxury beauty brand. So I would have liked to have seen that translated into the packaging of this palette. But again, I'm just really shocked at the price. $78, guys. You usually don't get 18 shades in a Pat McGrath palette for that price, so I would take advantage of it. This is a really great way to try her brand, and I want to thank Pat McGrath for making it so affordable, especially this time of year, guys, when there's so much uncertainty going on, there's just so much craziness, and the holidays are now upon us, so that just even adds more to the madness. Thank you, Pat McGrath, for making a beautiful product that is affordable to a lot of us who've always wanted to try your product, but just maybe can't afford it at the moment. So guys, I showed you all the Morphe palette a few minutes ago, and that is the one that I used on this eye to kind of mimic the same look I created on the right eye using the Celestial Divinity palette. I also want to give a mention to 2 more eyeshadow palettes that you might want to consider or that you might already have in your stash. This is the Tarte Pro Remix palette, and I know a lot of you who subscribe to BoxyCharm, you just received this a couple months ago in one of your BoxyCharms, and this is what the inside of the palette looks like. Mine is not new. Mine is one of the originals because I bought it when this palette was released a couple years ago, and one of my shades up here is broken, so that's why I'm being careful with how I hold it. But I thought that this palette drew a lot of similarities to the new Celestial Divinity palette, especially because this Tarte palette is also predominantly a shimmer palette. In here, you only get in this palette, you only get 2 matte shades versus the Pat McGrath where you have the 3 matte shades. Let me see if I can hold these next to each other. They're not like spot on, but there's definitely some similarities there. And especially with them being predominantly shimmer palettes, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to give this Tarte palette an honorable mention. I also want to point out, this is something you might have been eyeing, or maybe you've picked it up already, the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette. I mean, let's talk about packaging, okay? Like, this is packaging. This is nice, gorgeous, beautiful packaging. This palette retails for $52. Now, I forgot to mention that the Tarte palette retails for $48 on the Tarte website, but you can find this for cheaper than that. Like, definitely sign up for the Tarte emails, get the 20% off coupon that they have or whatever it is. And you might even be able to find this on sale like at maybe Macy's or Ulta or whatnot. But I wouldn't pay full price for this one if you don't have it. Now, going back to the Urban Decay, this one retails for $52. It is a new release from Urban Decay. I think it came out about a month and a half ago. I already reviewed this on my channel. I have it linked up above so you guys can check that out. But I mean, this is packaging. Okay, like, this is nice quality packaging, and I'm not showing you this because I think it has a similar color story to the Pat McGrath palette. I'm showing you this because it is also predominantly a shimmer palette. In this palette, you get 3 matte shades, 1 satin shade, and then you have the rest in the middle that are shimmer shades. Whereas the same thing goes in the Pat McGrath palette. You have 3 matte shades, and then the rest are shimmer shades. And I'll hold these up next to each other so you guys can see. Again, guys, I'm not showing you these because I think they're identical as far as color stories go. I'm showing them to you because they are both shimmer palettes. And I want you to see the difference in the packaging. I mean, the packaging, guys, really makes all the difference. And so that's the only thing I feel we could have done a better job on this Pat McGrath palette with. So guys, what did you think of today's video? What did you think of the looks I created, the dupes, the alternatives that I had to share with you? Are you going to be picking up the Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette? Maybe you've already picked it up, or maybe you're still curious about it. I hope that whatever the case is, this video was able to help you out, help you make a better buying decision. Don't let FOMO take over your life, guys. I know there's so many new makeup releases going out right now, and there's a lot of beautiful things. I have had to hold back many times over the last couple weeks. But guys, you get what you can afford, you get what you're going to use, and get what you think you're going to love. Don't let any of us influence you otherwise. You do what is best for you. Guys, I want to also mention that all of the products that I have on my face will be linked in the description box down below in case you are wondering about any of the other makeup I have on or the jewelry. Look at my new necklace. Isn't that beautiful? I'm really into like the evil eye jewelry. This is from QVC. I'll have everything linked in the description box down below. Some of them might be affiliate links. So if you end up purchasing, I thank you in advance for supporting me and this channel. I also want to say a big welcome to all of my new subscribers. Thank you all so much for being here. And I really do hope you all are enjoying my content. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. You all have a great day or night, wherever it is you all are at. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink your water. And I will see you all very soon. Bye.